I
I, Bryan Acheampong,
hereby swear by the Bible
hereby swear by the Bible
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Please be reminded that by the oath you've taken, you've made a promise to speak the truth, and the failure to do so constitutes an offense for which you'll be liable to punishment.
We'll ask you some questions, and we require candid answers as possible, because that will help the commission deliver on this mandate. Very well. You are the Minister of State in charge of national security, am I right?
That is correct, sir.
Now, can you describe to this commission what the specific mandate of the ministry is?
The mandate of the Security Ministry of National Security is to coordinate the security and intelligence agencies. That is a broad mandate and function of the Ministry of National Security.
Now, you said broad. Are you able to give us specifics?
And anything that will fall in the function of coordinating the activities of the security and intelligence agencies.
Are you able to tell this commission some of the intelligence agencies under your control?
Bureau of National Investigations, Bureau of National Communications, Research Department. There are other units that I may not be able to mention in public, but I can tell the commission in camera because of what they do.
Now, before then, is it a case that your ministry is a substantive ministry?
It is a Ministry of National Security with a budget line item, so I believe that it is a substantive ministry.
Very well. Are you then able to tell the commission the difference between your ministry and that of the National Security Minister?
A minister, a National Security Minister, heads the Ministry of National Security.
Are you saying that these are two different ministries as far as you're concerned?
One is an institution, one is a person. You mentioned the difference between the National Security Minister and the National Security Ministry.
Very well. So then, if I get you right, what you are saying is that you both work under the National Security Ministry. Is that it?
That would be correct.
And between the two of you, Minister for National Security, the Minister of State in charge of national security, would you say your duties overlap?
I am a Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security. Insofar as there is a sector minister, Minister for National Security, there can't be two ministers, and that is a norm. If you go to the Ministry of Education, there's a Minister of Education, and there is a Minister of State in the Ministry of Education. So the same for the Ministry of Agriculture and some other ministries. It's a norm.
Very well. Now, there have been reports of violence at La Bauleshi in the Ayawaso constituency during the recent by-elections. Are you aware?
Yes, I am aware, and I can say that I have been extensively briefed unless new information comes out.
Now, if you say you have been extensively briefed, would you be candid enough with the commission as to where you received this briefing from?
There is a director of operations at National Security who handles all operational matters. I have invited him, including on the day he gave me a phone briefing because I wasn't around. And then in the last week, almost on a daily basis, he's been updating me. He gave me a full brief, and he's been updating me of any other thing that has come up.
Honorable, what you appear to be saying is that you've been given oral briefing. If I may ask, have you also been furnished with after action report, as in written?
I have received a lot of oral briefings on the matter, and I have seen a report of the SWAT commander on the field. I have a hard copy of that report.
Very well. As per this report, you're able to tell the commission what exactly happened on the day, per your briefing and the reports.
My understanding is that they received an intelligence report that they acted on. They received a report, which is something that happens almost on a daily basis with all the informants that operate under them. They got a report the day before the incident on the 30th. And they mounted surveillance, and on the 31st, they continued. In fact, it was a continuous surveillance, but because they suspected that the item in question was to be used on the 31st, they prepared their men to stand by, and if possible, make a swoop to retrieve the said items. On the morning of the elections, around 08 hours, my colleague, honorable member, came in with about 15 men on motorbikes to the Bawalishi Park where they were stationed. They queried why they were coming there. They ignored them and moved towards the polling station. Another honorable member intervened, and they left the polling station and then went behind the polling station where this warehouse that was under surveillance is. The surveillance was still going on. They heard some gunshots coming out of this house. They approached the house. At that point, they were being pelted with stones. They fired warning shots from outside the building, and then all the people in the building, inside and outside, started running away. Now, in the process, they arrested 9 people, and in the process of arrest, some minimal force in their language was applied. They took the 6 people to the East Legon police station. Sorry, the 9 people to the East Legon police station. 6 of the 9 were injured. They did not have, according to them, gunshot wounds. But I think in the application of in their language, minimal force, the 6 had some injuries and were given police forms to go to the hospital. According to the report that I received, when they were leaving the yard and the field of this warehouse, my colleague, honorable member, appeared this time round using certain words that, according to them, caused fear and panic, and they tried to restrain him, verbally restraining him to cease. He ignored the warning and still approached the tail end of the vehicle, not in view of the commander. So according to the commander, the operative informs him that some language was used on him that incensed him, and then he reacted. This is the account that I have been giving of the situation.
Very well. Honorable, in your answer, you kept saying they. They. Who are you referring to as they?
The SWAT team that went for the operation, they are the ones that I'm referring to as they.
Very well. You have also indicated that certain intelligence were received. Now, are you able to share with the commission what the said intelligence were, who they came from?
I am under oath, but if it will be difficult to share sources of intelligence and how we operate in this matter, but I can share that in camera. But the report that I have is that intelligence was received from sources that I will not be able to disclose on camera, but definitely, on camera, but definitely in camera, I should be able to do that.
Now, is it possible at least to disclose the content of the intelligence? Because you said intelligence without telling the commission exactly what you mean.
In the broad category of weapons, let me put it that way.
Honorable, if I may ask, what about weapons?
The intelligence they received suggests that some undesirable materials were being sent to a particular warehouse, and they had extensive details on that intelligence, and it included weapons, which they were concerned about.
Is successful in retrieving these weapons? I mean, the SWAT team.
It is a question that I have asked them almost 1,000 times in the last 1 week. If they had intelligence and they had surveillance in the last 24 hours before the 31st, and they had actually had a confirmation of that intelligence because they had gunshots coming from inside the house, then just by the mere numbers of the people that they claim were there shouldn't have stopped them from going further to enter the property to ensure that the reason why they had been surveilling for 24 hours was complete. Apparently, when they fired the warning shots and everybody was running away, the gate of this warehouse was locked. They only managed to arrest 9 people in front of the gate. So they didn't enter the property, which I think that it was faulty. They should have gone in and completed their mission. If they go in and they don't find weapons, at least I would have been satisfied that they actually went into the property, searched the property, and it was safe for me to sleep at night. They did not enter the property. When they fired the warning shots at the gate and arrested 9 people, they aborted the mission and sent the 9 to the police station. I think that they should have completed the mission. They did not. So I can conclude that they were not successful. Success doesn't mean that they would have found weapons. It meant that The target was identified, they would have moved in, they would have searched the property extensively. And that alone for me would have been success, but they did not.
So in effect, Honorable, you will agree with me, won't you, if I suggest to you that the said operation was a failure?
I wouldn't say that because I wasn't on the ground, or you and I were not there. But they have to make a decision based on the ground situation. And as far as they report, they made the best decision to abort the mission. That is what they told, based on what was happening on the ground. And I've seen the videos. I have seen the videos. If it was me, I would probably take a decision close to what they took, even though I would have wished that they should have gone in. So I wouldn't say it was a failure.
Very well, Honorable. It's been 2 weeks since the incident. Have your SWAT team made any attempt within this period to go back to the said establishment to first of all check as to whether truly there are weapons and make any effort of retrieving same?
Suspects' names were mentioned. So I know that the investigations are still ongoing. The property, they have not gone back because the police has taken over the investigations. So I believe the police that came to the ground entered the property and they have started their investigation. So investigations are going on, but not by national security. They took the 9 men to the police station. On their way out, the police reinforcement was coming in. And so they took over the property, and I believe it's part of the investigations that is being carried out.
Honorable, let's get something clear here. Are you saying that your men yielded to the police who appeared on the scene, or they decided to abort the operation altogether upon the arrest of certain men? Because the two are not the same.
When they arrested the 9 men and were taking them to the police station, the regular police forces came in. My understanding from the report is that the police reinforcement was coming in whilst they were taking the suspects to the police station.
Now, if I may ask, how many men were involved in this operation?
The report that I have is that 60 men were involved in the operation.
And you want this commission to believe that all the 60 men decided to carry 9 men to a police station and for that reason abandoned an operation?
It is very, very possible.
Honorable, it is possible. What will inform that?
Operational matters are not the same. This scene that we have today, if we're given 10 minutes to recreate it, we will not be able to create it as it is. So commanders are trained to take decisions in theater. And so it will be difficult to say that there were 60 men arresting 9 men and therefore aborting an operation when we don't know the ground conditions. So it is very possible that they had to take the 9 people to the police station. We don't know what the ground situation that led to that decision. I don't know that.
And are you saying you have subsequently not been briefed of the ground situation? And that as you sit here, you still don't know as the minister?
It's very possible that I wouldn't know. I am under oath and I'm telling you what I have been told.
Very well, Honorable. In your evidence, you kept mentioning an honorable member. Specifically, who are you referring to?
Honorable Sam George.
Now, you also said minimal force were used. Am I right?
Correct.
Are you aware that some Ghanaians were injured at the scene?
I said that in my statement that they tell me that in the arrest of the 9 people, 6 were injured. I asked if it was from gunshot wounds. They said no. They were resisting arrest. They applied minimal force in their language. They applied minimal force and sustained some injuries. They sent them to the police station and they were given medical forms. That is what they tell me. So yes, some Ghanaians sustained injuries. The ones that the 9 that they took to the police station.
Honorable, are you also aware of the allegation that some of these people actually sustained gunshot injuries?
Yes, I am aware.
And if that is true, would you call that application of minimal force?
Your question suggests that the gunshot wounds came from the SWAT team. They denied that flatly, that they gave the gunshots from outside the house, the warehouse. And gunshots go up. They are not directed at persons. From outside the walls of the house. They did not enter the house. They arrested the 9 people outside the gates of the house, not inside the house. They left the scene, and I have seen a video suggesting that they took the 9 men inside their vehicles and sent them to the police station. So they deny that. The gunshot wounds that we've seen, and I've seen the report, some pictures of it from 37, came from inside the house. That is what they are very emphatic, that it came from inside the house. And they suspect that because these people are not trained men and had weapons, something may have gone off in there that had caused the injuries. Because everybody that was involved in their arrest outside the house, they took them with them to the police station. And none of them had gunshot wounds. So our interest, and we're waiting for the police investigation to ascertain where those people sustained the gun injuries from, whether from outside the house or from within the warehouse.
Honorable, there's been reports of masked, armed men at the polling stations during the last by-elections. Are you aware?
Yes, I am aware.
You are on record to have said, and in fact, it's been all over the news. If it's not true, you can tell the commission that you were actually the one who deployed these masked, armed men. Is that the case?
You say I am on record. I'm still looking for this record where I said this.
So you wouldn't mind if the commission shows you a video of the said report?
I have never interviewed on TV. I have done 3 interviews on radio, and at all times, I use third-party pronouns. I never said I. And that is something that I am battling with. It is everywhere that I have said I have deployed men. I have deployed operatives. I have never said anywhere in the 3 interviews that I granted, on CTFM, on the 1st, on Asempa, the afternoon of the 1st, and on Saturday Newsfile, that I had an opportunity to talk for 3 minutes. I, at all times, mentioned the Ministry of National Security, or the National Security, or we, I never said I have deployed men.
And you wouldn't be surprised if an audio to that effect is played to your hearing.
I will want to hear it, please.
Confirm whether this is true or not. And this is coming from a city online report. You are quoted to have said this, and I quote, that we deployed men and some of them had masks. It is not like they came from somewhere. They were just engaged and put there. They were part of the setup that we deployed.
That is true. I am a minister of state in a ministry. And if my director of operations tells me that they have deployed men, I am part of it. But I did not give the order that they should. And that is why I use the word we have. Because I know that it is my ministry that has deployed the men. That is what I'm battling with. All the attacks on me in the last 1 week, that everywhere Bryan has deployed men, Bryan has deployed boys, Bryan has deployed this. Mr. Commissioner, I wasn't even in town. I wasn't even in town. 10 minutes ago, I read a Joy FM report filed in this room, I suspect, that said Ayawaso by-election. Police deny that vehicles are theirs. In the report, they were very emphatic. Men deployed by Bryan Acheampong. In the report, filed 10 minutes ago, a security expert on City FM quoted me just like you're quoting me, that I have deployed. I called him after that. I said, Mr. Doctor, did you hear my interview? He said, that is what they're saying on radio. So you didn't hear my interview? No, I didn't. So why are you quoting me? Oh, okay, then send me the video and let me go and do corrections on new file. So I said we. I said the ministry. I said national security. But I never said I have deployed the men as it's being suggested. I will want to hear where this is coming from.
Let's take a lesson.
So I was asking what over 24 hours since voting started yesterday and I haven't had the results declared, whether there's been any preliminary assessment at all of the security that characterized yesterday's by-election.
Yes, I'll say so. The first report is that the elections are over. There were 137 or so polling stations. In all the polling stations, there was no interruption of voting and no intimidation at any of the polling stations. Free and fair by any standard. There were also reports that nearby one of the polling stations, there was an incident that lasted about 20-25 minutes. That was brought under control by the election task force that was deployed to that polling station. So, to that area. So, as far as we're concerned, the elections are over, declared free and fair, and some incidents, a minor incident in one polling station that has been near one polling station that has been taken care of.
All right, I'm sure you haven't seen the CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers report, because in their report, if you permit me to quote, and CODEO say that they had observers who visited more than half of the polling stations in all electoral areas in the constituencies, and they say that their observers noted, quote, several instances of heavy and intimidating security presence at most polling stations observed. And then they go on to say that.
Bernard.
No, let me just finish the question. That number one.
Bernard.
No, I don't want to put it together. They said, no, hold on, right? They said they had several instances of heavy and intimidating security presence, and then they went on to say that some non-uniform security operatives displayed lack of understanding of electoral rules. And then at the prisons JHS at Roman Road, for instance, as an example to buttress their point, security operatives who claim to be national security, positioning themselves next to a polling official, and when a station uniform police officer alerted them to move away from the poll officials, a pickup of many of the so-called security operatives descended on the police officer and attacked him. So I'm just trying to say, you are saying that apart from something that happened away from the polling station, the police stations were cool, but I'm saying that Kodio's evidence or their claim is that the polling stations too had issues, and one example is what I've just given you.
Bernard, this is a by-election in the Greater Accra region, which we have a classification for. And in the by-election, in certain areas, we know the national security or the security agencies have a classification for whether it's the highest area and so on and so forth. The assessment that we received prior to the election informed us to deploy security men in certain areas. That was unusual. But they were there not to intimidate. I don't understand why 10, 20, 30 police people at a police station or a polling station will be called intimidating. We deployed to protect the citizens. And that was done with all the information, intelligence information and security report that we had received. So I don't understand why could you say that the men that we had deployed were intimidating. We will engage Kudio to find out what they saw.
But were these security people you deployed, were they uniformed?
We deploy all kinds of security forces in operations depending on the information that we have. There were some uniformed and some plainclothes security operatives. It happens all the time.
So did this include people who were wearing masks?
Absolutely. You saw them there. They were not hiding. They were people, security men. You see, when we get intelligence, we need to prepare for it. When we get information, we need to prepare for the intelligence that we have received. And we deployed men. They are with us. And some of them had masks. It's not like they came from somewhere. They were just engaged and they were part of the setup that we deployed yesterday.
So was it possible for people to identify and know who they were? For example, were they wearing specific attire that had insignia to show that they were working for the state?
But then we just asked me, and I answered. Some of them had police uniforms, some of them had immigration uniforms, some of them had prison uniforms, some of them had special gear on, and some of them were plain clothes. We deployed a mix of these forces or service personnel, depending on the information that we have for a particular polling station.
So was this known to the police that all these groups would be working with them on the ground?
There was a security task force for that particular election. It was known to them.
We journalists interviewed the director of operations on the ground when the confusion at the candidate's house occurred, Deacon Alex Mensah, who said he did not know who the masked personnel were and he did not deploy any masked personnel to be part of yesterday's election.
Bernard, have you listened to that tape?
I've played it on air more than 3 times. I can play it again.
The DCOP never said that. He never said that. The commissioner arrived at the scene and immediately he landed there. They took a microphone to him and said that, who are these people wearing this uniform? He said, I just got here. I don't know who these people that you're talking about. That is what happened.
Well, I can play the voice because he said they asked him many times whether he knew who the masked people were, and he said he didn't know them, and he didn't know any masked person.
I have spoken with him. I have spoken with those on the ground. All the police people. You've seen the video. You've seen a video of the incident, of the theater. You've seen a video of it. Does it suggest to you that the people that were there were not known to the security people there? The commissioner of police never said what you are playing. His head in the editor. He got onto the ground and immediately accosted and said, like, who are these people in Brown? I just got the, I don't know the people that you are talking about.
Well, I mean, you maybe have evidence of editing. I'm just playing what I have. So when I finish the interview, I'll play it again for people to decide whether they think it's true or not. But then, if the police knew that these people were working with them, the Kodio, I'm coming. The police, the Kodio made another specific claim that I wanted you to address, because the issue that happened at Roman Ridge, where a group of people beat up a police officer for telling them to move away from a polling official. That doesn't paint a picture of a team working together.
Bernard, what the 6 words that we have is the first question that you asked me, an initial assessment. And I gave you an initial assessment of what we have.
You've heard the tape.
Yes, Eric, I have. I want you to forward to the point where you suggested that I deployed national security men. We've listened to 8 minutes, 22 seconds of that tape. And everything that I said is the information I have received, we deployed. The report that I have. I never said anywhere that I have deployed men to any place. I never said that. And I think the report should come up to suggest to the media, because it's caused me a lot of pain. And I'm sure you've heard it. You've heard everything that is being said about me on this matter. The president quoted me last time. I don't know where he got a quote from. Everybody is saying what they don't know. When the tape is available for everybody to listen, I never said I have deployed men anywhere.
Very well, Honorable. Now, you do admit that we had masked uniformed men at the polling stations, or some of the polling stations, don't you?
I do admit that. Who has?
That there were.
Yes. My information, and from what I have seen on the video, is that some of the SWAT team, or those attached to the SWAT team, had masks on.
Were they part of the security operatives attached to the election?
The information I have is that the 60 people that were deployed for that operation, that specific operation, were there on a different mission.
Now, if I may ask, who are these uniformed masked men, to the best of your knowledge?
We have operatives within our setup. We have all kinds of people within our setup to protect you, Council. All kinds of people. But in addition to that, we have a police SWAT team that is attached to us, equipped by the police, because they're in police uniform, they hold weapons, and all that. When they are on operations, they are supported by some of these operatives, depending on the nature of the operation and where the local knowledge. So if SWAT people are coming to Castle, and we have operatives within our setup that are familiar with the Castle, they will join them and then go and conduct the operation. So in this particular operation, there were 25 SWAT police people supported by 35 operatives.
Honorable, these operatives, are they trained?
For the purpose of what they are supposed to do, yes, they are trained. We have different operatives doing different jobs, and as best as I know, they are trained for the assignment that they engaged in. And if they are not trained, all operatives don't engage in the kind of operations that you saw. Some are very, very friendly operations. And if we require the service of a council to enter a theater, we will extensively brief the operative to perform that assignment. So if operatives were deployed for the assignments that we saw at Ayawaso West work on, and I want to believe that they were trained for the assignment.
Now, you have indicated that you had about 25 police officers and 35 of these operatives. So obviously, the operatives outnumbered the police officers. Are you able to share the reason that you formed that commission?
I wouldn't know that operational detail.
Honorable, these men were said to be wearing masks, which I believe you have seen photographs and videos of. Are you able to tell the commission what informed the reason of them wearing masks?
I can share the name of the commander in charge of the operation for him to appear before the commission to explain what informed the decision to wear masks.
So, if I get you right, what you are telling the commission is that as you sit here, as the minister in charge of state security or national security, you are not aware the reason why the operatives wear masks.
I have received several reports from some of the operatives, from the commander himself, from the director of operations. But for the purpose of the commission, it will be best if the person that gave the instruction or was aware that some of their men were wearing masks can explain to the commission so that Ghanaians are apprised. What I saw is not, of the 60 men, not all of them were wearing masks. So I can't explain why some were wearing masks and others were not. So if we can get the commander who made the decision to come and explain to the commission, and I can give the name in camera, or after this I can give the name to the commission.
Very well. Now, these operatives, as you call, are they permanently part of our security structure?
Are they permanent national security
Exactly.
or part of the security structure?
Yes.
When you say part of the security structure, if you can narrow down the question, are they part of national security or are they part of the security structure?
Very well, Honorable, for now, let's keep it as part of the national security.
Yes, they are part of national security. You have some here at the castle. You saw them.
Very well. And they are permanent employees
Yes.
of the national security.
Yes. All those, some of them that you see here in black and white, here at the castle, I'm sure you've been here for a couple of days, are all part of the national security operatives, and they are employees of the outfit, or operatives of the outfit.
Now, Honorable, let me ask you this worrying question. I believe you are aware of the existence of vigilantism or vigilante groups in the country. Are you?
I am aware of that worrying situation. Yes, I am.
And as Minister in charge of national security, what steps have you taken towards disbanding said groups, for want of a better word?
I think from where I sit, several engagements have been had with especially the New Patriotic Party on the matter. Several pronouncements have been made by my outfit, by the police, by the Office of the President on the issue of vigilantism, that it is difficult today to go out to Osu and say that I am going to arrest a vigilante. It is difficult to go to Newtown, Achimota, Trasako, and say that I'm going to arrest a vigilante. That is not how they are organized. There's a political party activity, there's an event, there's an operation, then they come together and then go and execute that operation. So you can continue, all you can do is to continue to warn through the public media that that activity is a crime, and if you are caught, you will be prosecuted. And I led an operation to ensure, supporting the police, to ensure that, if you remember, the Delta Force people were arrested, were prosecuted, made themselves available for the courts, and were sentenced. We are, when I say we are, so my minister, myself, and some other ministers have expressed the punishment that comes with the charge that they get. And we believe that if there are stiffer punishments, people will not rise to the call to go and perform some of these activities. So extensive steps are being taken. Beyond that, the Ministry of National Security has engaged stakeholders. Last week we were in Pediase, 2 weeks ago we were in Pediase on the same topic, and others have been engaged. There have been series of engagements to find, beyond what we have done, a lasting solution to deal with these elements of vigilantism. I don't support it. I think it's a threat to the state that has to be dealt with, and dealt with now.
Now, let me ask you a more direct question. There is a general belief among a section of our populace that the men in brown uniform, masked, wielding guns are members of a vigilante group associated with a new patriotic party. What do you have to say about that?
That's outlandish, sir. Council, I saw a picture on the Facebook wall of a gentleman called Ayawaso with members of the SWAT team suggesting that, and the headline was, I think it was on the 31st. If you look on Ayawaso's Facebook page on the 31st, and I have a picture of that, we've captioned that, saying, this is where the operation was planned. This is Bryan Acheampong's house where it all took place. And people, the members of the SWAT team were seated. That was false. That's not my house. I don't know a single one of those people that were seated there. I don't know one of them. I have operatives here at the castle. I don't know one of them. They may know me. I don't know a single one of them. So people put things out there. This is Bryan Acheampong's house. I don't own a single house with Luba Blakes in 2019. How did they come by that? They put it out there, nobody queries them, people form opinions and run away with it and tarnish your hard-won reputation. Knowing these people know very well that it's not true. It is not true that these people, MPP Vigilante group, as far as I have been briefed and told, some of these operatives were there before, I'm told, were there before the MPP came to power. So it cannot be that they were recruited from a vigilante group. They recruited Ghanaians. I know that. And to be fair and honest, the process that they go through to recruit some of these men to do the kinds of job that they do, an extensive background check. And I want to believe that if they have that kind of background, active vigilante services, they will never be recruited into the Ministry of National Security. That perception, we have to find a way of dealing with it. It's mostly fueled by the media. And we really, just like they put out there that something is my house, you know, and it has implications. It wasn't true, just like it was said that I have commanded people to go there, which wasn't true. In the same way, it's out there. Probably about 99% of Ghanaians believe that these were my boys. that I deployed to go and do X, Y, Z, when I knew even nothing about the operation until the 1st of January, when I kind of got a full briefing of it.
Honorable, talking about pictures, let me ask you, have you also seen pictures being banded around with some of these men in the brown uniform we saw on TV and on tapes, wearing earrings? Have you come across that?
Yes. I don't know if you've seen the regular, we have SWAT in every region. I don't know, the media will tell you. It is normal. I have seen them as part of normal, even police operations. I have seen them. It's not something that just happened yesterday. I saw in one of the programs that we had that a very, very important person was coming and they were protected. I said, hey, are these people part of the police? You know, yes, they had that kind of gear on. I have seen them. I don't know if those that were part of the Ayawaso West Wagon was geared up that way. But the policeman, we had an operation in the Asante Acheampong area just about 6 months ago. I saw these kinds of men. It is not strange, and I believe that they are part of a certain unit of the Ghana Police Service.
Honorable, the Ghana Police Service, as we have all known, is very strict on dress codes. Is that not the case?
Council, I believe that you have seen the SWAT unit of the police service. They have strict dress codes, well disciplined. It's part of their code. But when they are conducting operations, it's different. But I always say this. There's a big difference between security, law enforcement, and defense. If police people are going to conduct regular crowd control activities, they are dressed differently. They have batons, they have shields, sometimes they don't even wear hats. They're very, very friendly. And if they go and conduct different kinds of operations, they are dressed differently. It is normal. Even in this room, I have seen 2 police officers, and you can tell that they are dressed differently. One is in almost near combat gear, and one is a fine police gentleman, well ironed, well trimmed, sitting there with me. So the police, depending on how I'm not going to speak for them, but what I've seen is what I'm saying, that if it is operations, it's quite a different story.
Now, Honorable, we all know election 2020 is coming. In fact, it's less than 2 years. And what happened at Ayawaso West Wagon has really caused fear and panic in the society. Now, as a minister in charge of national security, what measures are you putting in place to allay these fears?
What I saw on the video and what I have been briefed will not be anywhere near what will happen in 2020. Because I don't want to believe that the SWAT teams are going to be conducting operations in warehouses near polling stations in 2020. What I believe will happen is that the security that was provided in 2016 will be improved upon, will make it safe and sound for everybody to move from their homes to go and vote. What are we going to do about it? We're going to work with the body responsible and the ministry responsible for the general security, the general law enforcement of the country, which is the Ministry of Interior, to ensure that we have a proper, safe, and secured election 2020. What happened is not what is going to happen 2020. It is not a preparation for 2020 that I have heard out there that this is a dress rehearsal for 2020. That is not what is going to happen in 2020. It's going to be an improved security from what happened in 2020. Because we have 2016, we just have to make our security better. We shouldn't put those two in context.
Mr. Chairman, your witness.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for your testimony. I have a few questions that I'd like you to answer to clarify. These people on the SWAT teams, how are they put together? Who put them together? Are they seconded? I'm told some are from the police and so on. Are they seconded officials, or they are just assigned on duty? If they are, for how long? Do they rotate and all of that? I'm interested in.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will be able to answer some parts of that question. The SWAT unit is attached to the Ministry of National Security, and the policemen are seconded from the Ghana Police Service to the SWAT unit at the Ministry of National Security. Their rotations and how long they stay, how they are chosen, I don't have that detail. I believe that the commander responsible should be able to answer that.
Thank you very much. So you don't know whether they serve for only a time, or for 6 months, or for 1 year, or for the life of a government. You don't have that information.
I am sure it is not for the life of a government, because the last commander, this new commander, has been there for less than 8 months. There was a commander. I have seen some changes in that unit, because I've seen different people at different times, but I don't know how they are brought there and how long they stay there. But it's definitely not for the life of a government.
You said your assignment is as Minister of State in charge of National Security.
Minister of State in the Ministry of National.
The Ministry of National Security. And then you have a Minister of National Security. And then you have a security coordinator. Aren't you tripping each other up?
No, Madam Commissioner. We were not. The functions of the coordinator is very technical in nature, and the functions of the minister is at the policy level. I support the minister as a Minister of State in that ministry.
So you have political responsibility for what happens, but not operational responsibility.
At the minister level, it's policy, not political. It's policy responsibility and the coordination. The coordinator in this case is the most technical person. There's a full director of operations in the ministry that handles operational matters.
Okay. So I want to ask you a question. If you don't have the answer, that's fine. We will invite them. But I'm interested in what is the protocol on the use of firearms in this team attached to the ministry?
Thank you, Commissioner. Only the police officers and soldiers, if we have them attached, and in the past we've had soldiers attached, only the police and soldiers are allowed to carry weapons. And they work with their standard operating practice from where the agency that they are coming from. So if they're coming from the police, they come with their own and apply the police SOP. We don't have an SOP on how they should apply their weapons. They come with what they are taught from their institution. If the military come, they come with their own SOPs on the use of firearms.
Who issues them the weapons and the ammunition?
The police have their, National Security has an armory. supervised by the director. My understanding is that it's supervised by the director of operations. Supervision. As to the issuance, I will believe that the police SWAT unit will have their own process of issuing and accounting for weapons, but it is under the supervision of the director of operations in the ministry.
I was worrying about the accounting bit, because if a police officer discharges a firearm on duty, to whom would this officer have to report?
It will be reported to the police commander in theater, who will report to the director of operations.
And who would make sure that the firearm that was discharged has been properly accounted for?
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. The ultimate responsibility will be on the director of operations.
But if
sorry, Madam, who is also a colonel in the military, that the DSP is in charge of the SWAT unit and reports to a colonel who is a director of operations.
But you said each part of the SWAT unit brings its own SOPs. So who will make sure that they are conforming to the SOPs, since they are operating outside their own force?
When they come into the ministry, they don't operate outside their, when they come into the ministry, if we have police, if we have the ministry, the guidelines on the use of weapons is per the SOP of the police. We don't retrain them. They're trained enough. What we're talking about is the issuance of weapons. At that point, both the military, if they are attached to us, and the police will be accountable to the commander of the unit, who reports to the colonel, who is the director of operations. In terms of accountability, not the use.
But if you expend the firearm, you must account for it to the one who issued it. Now, if the one who issued it is from a different force, then you don't have to account to your own force, because they didn't issue with a weapon and ammunition. And the one who issued it is not in your force. So technically, has no way of controlling how you expend the ammunition.
Thank you, Commissioner. So that I explain it, I think we are saying the same things, but differently. We have a director of operations who is a colonel. And at all times, and in this particular time, the only attachment we have for SWAT is the police. So the police will bring their weapons, and it will be in the custody of the director of operations, who is a colonel. He will, during operational times, issue it to the commander of the SWAT unit, who will then issue it to his men. If the operation is over, the men will account to the commander of the SWAT unit, who will in turn account to the director of operations.
So who checks if they have used or misused the weapon on the operation?
The first line will be the SWAT commander, and the second line will be the director of operations.
Okay. Now, apart from weapons, to what disciplinary code do these SWAT teams subscribe, since they are doing duties that are a little beyond their ordinary police duties while with national security?
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. The SWAT team does not do duties a little different from what the police does. Sometimes, because of the nature of operations that we carry out and how tightly knit we want the information to be, we have a dedicated SWAT team attached to us who conduct operations. Their SOP is not different from the police SWAT SOP. Now, this SWAT unit that we have is no different from the SWAT unit at the police, because the police assign a whole SWAT unit to us. So they train their SWAT units and then assign them to the national security. So it's not like national security is the only organization that has a SWAT team, or we go and recruit normal policemen and then we brand them as SWAT. No. They are SWAT trained by the police and sent to us.
In your testimony, and I believe I can ask you questions about some of the things we heard on the radio.
Commissioner, I said that you can ask me questions.
You said we deployed to protect the citizen, and you have also said they went on a separate operation, and it's unclear to me how you were commenting on the Kodeo report. Now, they went to a particular place to go and do an operation. How did they find themselves in other polling stations for the Kodeo report to be made, and nobody contradicted them?
Thank you, Commissioner. When I was speaking, I was not only speaking for the operation that was being conducted. In fact, I was trying very hard to mask that information to the public at that time because the investigations were not complete. So I was speaking about the general security of the elections as I had been briefed. And that is what I was telling the public. So it was not specific to the national security operation. I was talking, so I did say that the report I have is that 137 polling stations free and fair. And that had to do with all the polling stations. But this operation was specific to one area near one polling station.
So when Kodeo made the report about these people attacking a police officer for doing his duty, were you alarmed?
Madam, I don't have a confirmation of that incident to date. And my operations people have not briefed me on that incident that Kodeo reported. But indeed, any act of violence or people being attacked is completely unacceptable. Whether it's from vigilantes or people coming to exercise their franchise and they or other people get involved in any fracas by a polling station, is completely unacceptable. And if we become aware of who these people are, we will definitely recommend them to the police, help arrest these people, and get the law to take its course.
But if you have not investigated the report, how would you know who was involved and all of that?
Thank you, Commissioner. At this stage, all investigations are being left for the police. National security conducts security operations, if need be, but regular investigation. So we expect the police investigation to be thorough and deal with these subjects that are being mentioned in the Kodeo report. Let me also put on record, Madam, that I have instructed the Director of Operations to ensure that all the people, especially the one that was seen on video, to have reacted to the Honorable Member of Parliament to be removed from operation until such a and made available to the police. And yesterday, I, in my office, made sure that the commander of the unit, the CID people, came and took his statement. And I believe that if they deem it necessary to act on anything in the statement, including arresting the person that reacted to the minister, I believe the police will do so when they conclude their investigation. But that officer is available at any time to the police for questioning.
Is this an administrative suspension or what kind of act is it?
I wouldn't term it an administrative suspension, but that officer has been set aside from duty, not to be involved in any operation, and such that when called upon by the police, we can make him available.
Okay. The people who went to the property, you said they didn't even enter, and you don't even accept that you don't accept why they didn't complete the assignment. Did they have a warrant?
Thank you, Commissioner. The nature of the operation, when the information came, my advice is that they don't need a warrant because they had a police officer with the rank of a DSP that can carry out that search. without a warrant at that time?
Because they found 9 people to arrest. And if 9 people are standing in front of a property and you have gone to search the property, then what was the basis for arresting them?
Madam Commissioner, from the video that I have seen, it was a chaotic scene. And my information from them is that because the people had been in and out of that property, if they make some arrest, with those information that they will provide, they will be able to understand what happened inside the warehouse. It was quite, from the video that I've seen, it was quite a chaotic scene. And my information is that the community was also rushing to the scene, especially the political actors. Everybody was rushing to the scene. So it was necessary for them to retreat, regroup, and find a way of dealing with the threat that they had the intelligence on.
I'm still wondering what they were arrested for. Have they been charged with anything?
They have been handed over to the police, and I await what comes out of that investigation. Madam Commissioner, it's been quite a hectic 2 weeks for people, the operatives that were involved, for the SWAT team, with everything that is going on. But for now, we believe the police are doing a fine job from what happened at the ministry when they came in to talk to personnel on the incident. I believe that everything is suspended when concluded. People that are found culpable will be dealt with. I believe that.
Okay, thank you for the assurance. You also can't explain why on an ordinary day the people showed up with masks at a place, wherever it was. If you saw people masked, you would be frightened.
Madam Commissioner, I have information that, and let me use judges. I have information that the new Chief Justice is recommending that judges wear the wig. And I believe it's for a reason that people in the law fraternity are familiar with why they must wear the wig. I think it's a brilliant decision by the Chief Justice, if it is true. That's what information that I have. It's the same reason if you want to go and conduct an operation of that nature, you need to gear up for it. The information you have and how you gear up is important. I believe if they were the officers that came to my office to talk to their colleague police officer, 2 of them were plain clothes. The other 2 were in uniform. Because it's a normal interview, statement taking and things like that. But I believe that if we were going into theater, depending on the operation, there will be masked. Madam Commissioner, maybe this is the first time that the issue of wearing mask is coming to public notice. I believe that most people in this country have seen these kinds of police people before, but they didn't pay attention to them. Any serious VVIP protection, even including His Excellency Kofi Annan's funeral, these people were present. If it is a major national security operations, this thing is not unusual. It happens. What we saw on the video, yes, frightens people because it is not your normal everyday policing that you see. That's quite unfortunate, but it's not something new. That's what I want to put on record. I completely agree with you, but I believe that I will offer the names of the commander of the SWAT unit and the director of operations to come and explain the information they had that led to the gear they had on. To date, I have not been briefed on the reason why for that particular operation, they had that gear. But I have seen severally in operations where they gear up that way. But for that particular operations, the men who took that decision must come before the commission and explain.
I'm looking forward to it because I have never seen them. So I'm surprised you are saying that it's a regular kind of, I've never seen them.
Madam Commissioner, I have seen you, but I will be surprised if you've seen me before.
Well, you are not exactly rare fare on the airwaves. So I have seen you on the airwaves.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner.
That doesn't mean you answered the question then.
Madam Commissioner, I mentioned that I want the operators to answer why they geared up the way they did.
Honorable, good afternoon. You've been here for 3 hours. You want to take some water?
Thank you. I'll go
on. Let me start with the public relations setup. Do you have at the National Security Secretariat a public relations manager or coordinator or whatever it is?
Thank you. Not that I am aware of. And I believe that with everything that has happened in the last 1 week, it's something that we need to have one.
I'm glad you agreed to that because it's not only your ministry, but there are too many ministries where the ministers want to act like all relations directors. Any ministry that have, and also we have a whole Ministry of Information, a minister and 2 deputies. But there are too many occasions where ministries come forward to give information leading out to the Minister of Information. Maybe if we take time to give information to the Minister of Information, I mean, even the time that gives you time to organize yourself and to answer questions. I'm saying this because once I heard on radio somebody being interviewed about some issues at Cocoa Board for 5 minutes. Then later on the person said, oh, I'm not in Accra, I'm actually in London. And that I'll check this up and tell you. So when you said you were out of Accra, I said to myself, first of all, when did you leave Accra?
The morning of the 31st, the dawn of 31st.
Yes. And therefore, when these incidents started, wouldn't it have been better for you to avoid the press or to tell them that I'm actually out? I know of the operation, but what is happening now, currently on the ground, I'm not aware. I will check up and call you. Wouldn't it have been better?
On hindsight, with what I have personally gone through the last 1 week, it's fantastic suggestions.
And especially also with the personal pain that you've gone through in respect of the house that is alleged to have been yours. I haven't seen anywhere any retraction from you. Explain that this is not my house, or you've done it and I haven't seen it.
Mr. Commissioner, everything that I say now is twisted. I made a post that said somebody is claiming that I am an evil person. The next day, I had 4 different headlines. Bryan Acheampong weeps at demonstration. So many headlines. So I decided that I will let it go, especially when the commission was set up. I believe that all these things will come out. And I had also been advised that I should zip it up a bit. I should keep quiet and let the commission do its investigation. The truth will come out.
I understand, but in respect of that house in particular, that was a very dangerous posting. Saying that this is your house, these are the men who went for the operation, they are taking instructions. And it took almost a week before the commission was set up. And I believe those of you who seen some, the various media, because you operate there, the people who are against you also operate there, so maybe you have to reply just a simple sentence or something. Saying that that's not my house. I wasn't in Accra, I've been away, I saw it. Today, the first day I'm getting to know that's not your house. So maybe other people too believe that's your house.
Mr. Commissioner, that post, I think that I responded in a way on social media, but not a formal response to be circulated widely. But that is definitely not my house. Never seen that building before.
Okay. Now let's all learn lessons from the operation of the SWAT, the business of wearing a mask and so forth. Now in other countries, I know about almost every other country, but let me restrict myself to the UK. Now the SAS, you know, is a full military regiment. Everything that they do, all their training is military. But let's say something is happening in Liverpool or Exeter, and they are called in. That's what they are called in by the police. And when they come, they are under the local police commander. And when they operate, they also wear masks. But as soon as the operation is over, they disappear. And the police take responsibility, and the police take credit for it. And it is reported as if it was a pure police operation. It was the police that rescued the kidnappers or that controlled the terrorist situation. They don't want to have any credit for it. Our problem in this country is too many people want to have credit for things. And so, if you want a permanent group at national security, you must train them, you must coordinate with the local police forces in such a way that when things happen, they come, they melt. They melt, that's what they do. And then credit is taken by the local police. In the same way, mistakes will be attributed to the local police. That's one suggestion. The other suggestion is, before they are assigned to your group or to any other public service, you have their CVs, especially the commanders. You know, in other countries, they look at people who should go into these units. Whereas there, in those countries, they want people who are calm and they, under tension, under situations like that, who don't panic, who don't react. In this country, we think that those operations are for, when you go to any corporation, any of the organizations, we think that those operations or those units are from, let me use the word buga buga, are for people who are illiterate and semi-illiterate, and you go to those units and you see people who don't have any sense of risk, they don't have any sense of denial, they don't care about what they are doing because they think they can send there by some people. So maybe we have to look at how people are selected into those units in other countries and the reasons why they insist on certain kinds of persons, and then we admit them in those units. The third point is about where you were trying to sort it out with Madam about the standard operating procedures. Now, it's possible to do two things. One, you can link up with the Director General of Operations at headquarters, so that any time you have some operation like that, the police must have at least a hint, and they must have a group in reserve. Or if it's in the regions, you link up with the regional commanders, they must have a group in reserve. Because on that day, your 25 police officers armed, with the others who were not armed. If the situation had gotten out of control, taking the elections aside, if it was something that was really serious, how are you going to get reserves to come to your aid? But if you link up with the regional operations group, because when we are in the regions, now if people are sent to me in the north, when they come, they're under my command. They are not coming as police officers from headquarters. If people come to the 6th Battalion, they are under the command of the battalion commander in the north. Whether they are operating in Yendi, if they go to Boku, it's the same. So this situation that you have, where you have a detachment of police officers, they are not under any police officer. They are under only a DSP or ASP or whatever it is. It's not useful for you, for future operations. It's not useful for you at all. Because one, the police service instruction that says that when firearms are discharged in any operation, there's likely to be an inquiry, and therefore the commander must know how many were fired, what happened. And in your situation, who conducts such an inquiry anytime they go out and shots are fired? Nobody. That's what we are struggling with. We've been asking questions this morning. People have said the CID, the CID. I don't think that the CID has been asked to investigate the SWAT performance on that day. Is it the position now that the CID is investigating what the role of the SWAT on that day? The CID headquarters. Is that the position now?
I don't, Mr. Commissioner, I don't know the scope of their investigation, but I believe that is broad enough and will capture.
No, we mustn't come and give the impression that the CID is doing that, and then we go back and we force the CID to come and give evidence. This is what happens in this country. When people are assigned to, it's not peculiar to your unit alone or to this government. It's been happening all the time. When people are assigned, they don't have any commanding control from their mother units. And I'm not sure that your director of operations, who is a colonel, will know about 60% of the police service instructions, and the police CI, and the police regulations under which these people could be investigated and could be sanctioned or left off. And they are there every day, day to day. I don't even know whether the police director of operations knows the sort of refresher training that they are doing, and whether the police needs to help you with more of such training. So we need to reorganize this whole concept of attachment. You could have, in Australia for instance, they have a unit permanently set up, they are trained, but they are always under this police commander. So it would be useful to look at some of these examples, and then I'm not saying that we don't need a SWAT or we don't need a special group to be used by the national security, because I know there are so many occasions where you need to act fast. They are won by groups outside all the time, but as I said, they melt. But here, people are worried because look at the funeral of Honorable Acheampong. They were there. You've gone to a funeral, you're wearing a mask, and you are dancing and behaving as if you are not a service personnel. It was on the social media. I was not here. I was in Tamale. Somebody came and showed to me when we were at a sitting and said, is that how the police are trained? Do they need masks for the funerals? Minister, do they need masks for the funerals?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have seen that video, and that video is not SWAT from my outfit. Okay. I'm told that is SWAT from Eastern Region,
I see.
Not SWAT from National Security. They are SWAT from the Eastern Regional Police Command.
Thank you. That's why I said we should all learn lessons. It's not something that we should all blame national security for. We should all blame ourselves. It means that the whole concept and training and operation of the SWAT units in this country, we all need to look at it and to learn lessons from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think the suggestions that you have given will be taken. I will recommend them. I will inform my minister on them. On the issue of CVs and selection, which was a specific question, I will want the Director of Operations to apprise the committee of how those selections are done. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you very much for your testimony. The only thing I would want to find out is whether you have a report on the deployment of this SWAT team for this particular operation that you undertook as a result of the intelligence that you have.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner. The SWAT commander has given a report that is in my custody.
Can you make it available to us?
I sure can, by the close of day tomorrow.
Right. If we need you and the course of the proceedings, we'll let you know. You are free to go now.
I'm grateful. Thank you, Council.